Welcome back to another episode. Today we're going to go over places to buy books.
Yes.
And there's a lot, so buckle up. We did this a couple years ago. People liked that video. We expanded it a little bit. So
yeah, we called that our top 10. This is not a top 10. This is just an overarching.
Yeah, it's wider than that. Although we're not going to name, I don't know, we're going to name a lot of places. We're going to tell you about even more. So real quick, I want to get to what we do outside of make videos. Every Monday night, 5 p.m. Pacific time, you can find Rachel and I live on Instagram selling comic books in a cherry pick claim sale. It's the first time we ever offer these books to the public from our stock. And what do we do after that?
We also do a buy it now feature on Instagram. I'll show it on the screen. We just offer books for sale every single week, different books. And then we also post every week on eBay. So we have tons of high grade bronze and copper comics over on our eBay store. You definitely want to follow us on Instagram and on eBay to check out everything that we have to offer you.
Make sure to follow us on all of our platforms, especially here. Like, subscribe, comment, follow. If you like these videos, it really helps us make them. We buy collections. If you're thinking of selling books, please think of us. Reach out. You can find us in the description, or Rachel will put a QR code right here. It'll get you immediately to it. Just get your phone, take a look at it, and do what you do.
Look at it through your camera app if you don't know
and
how to use a QR
tap
code.
it. Yeah, so if you don't know how, yeah. So contact us if you have books to sell. Bought two big, I had 10 long boxes come in this week alone. So we definitely buy comics. Let's get to the topic. Okay, I came back to the hobby in 2020 as a collector. And I was buying books at all kinds of different places. Came in just before the pandemic started. Once the pandemic started, everyone really put a lot of focus online. When I came in, there weren't claim sales per se, not like they are today. The whole landscape developed. In the last 5 years, there's been a great deal of disruption in the space of buying comics, and it might surprise you how many people are actually selling comics, and I'm here to make a claim. I would tell you that today, more people are selling comics than at any time in the history of mankind.
I think it's just because it's so accessible to people now. There's so many platforms that make it very easy. I say easy to sell comic books, where that didn't really exist before.
Well, you know what Andy Warhol said, right? In the future, everyone will be famous for 15 minutes. What is your 15 minutes of fame? Everyone has a platform now that they can espouse their ideas, sell things, do DIY teaching, whatever it is. And a lot of that has transitioned into people selling things. I'm just going to digress and we'll go back in a minute. We were on Whatnot for 4 months, sold a lot of books. I mean, we turned out thousands of books. But one of the things I found, I started looking at other products on there. And did you know you can go on an app and buy candy? They have these candy auctions. And I got a little obsessed with them. And believe me, I wouldn't buy these things if I saw them. But they'll take a box, one of those $9.21 boxes that no matter how much weight, fill it up with candy, chocolate, licorice, and it's always in a theme. I started saying, that's a good deal. So it is the swap meet of the future is virtual, and it really has changed the landscape. So we're going to talk about lots of ways to buy comics and surprise you with some numbers here.
Yeah, let's throw some facts at you. So the total number of comic book selling platforms and people across the US, I'm going to say, we're estimating roughly over 5,000. So that's including comic book websites, online claim sales, YouTube channels, all of those types of things. We're estimating about 5,000.
I think it's more than double that. I think that there's a lot of in and out. People will hop in and do a sale and stop selling. People don't do it full time. But if you think about, there's 2,500 brick and mortar stores estimate. Mm-hmm. And then you have conventions and people who strictly sell at conventions, and we're going to get into all that. There are more people selling today. It's hard to wrap your mind around, and it's hard to get data on. On Whatnot alone, there's over 1,000 sellers of comic books.
Of comic books.
There's
a lot of other things that they
There's
sell on
probably 500 chocolate sellers. There's people that sell tennis shoes. It's crazy. It's the mall of the future. But this is what the Jetsons promised us. This future, that you just push a button and get something like that, and it gets delivered to you. Anyway, there are so many, economists say choices are good. But if you're buying something, choices aren't always good because you get overwhelmed by the choices.
Yeah, I get choice paralysis a lot when I'm like going to go buy something. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, which one?
Everyone watching this video, I guarantee that most of you are buying from different people. There are some platforms that most of you buy from. I once had an argument with somebody about McDonald's, about how horrible it was. And this person goes, have you eaten at McDonald's in the last year? Yeah. She goes, so has everyone else.
I haven't.
Well, McDonald's feeds, I think, 2% of the population of the world.
Yeah, that's a lot of people.
So you can like it or hate it. I actually kind of like it. But no matter what, it's saturated. It's just part of society. We're going to talk about comic book options now that you may or may not have thought of. And I do find it fascinating. You might get locked in and only like certain ones, but might be able to widen your perspective a little bit. Here we go.
Before we get into it, though, there's some information that we wanted to talk about where there's some caveats or like some things to consider when you're going to buy a comic book from someone or someplace.
I was a collector before I was a seller for years, okay? And I sold a lot in the 90s. A couple of things that I need to know when I'm buying.
Just for your personal
taste.
taste.
And see if this, jibes with how you feel about it, or if you have a similar perspective. I like to know the grade of what I'm buying. I need to. Now, when I buy collections, it's not as important because I get a generalized feel. If I think the collection's mid-grade or low-grade, then I kind of know what I'm dealing with. When it's high-grade, I can definitely tell. It's a little bit different buying as a buyer or buying as a collector. I like to have a book in hand. It's ideal, but not always possible, so I always ask a lot of questions. If I'm spending a lot of money, what a lot of money is to me, what a lot of money is to you could be quite different. So, use that in perspective of what you're spending. If you're going to spend a bunch of money on a book and then have all these fees on top and it's less than what you would like it to be, I would say don't blame the person you bought it from if you didn't ask any questions. Mm-hmm. I like to take books out of bags when I buy them. I don't like pictures of books inside bags. Mylar comic bags can be beer goggles for comics. They make every comic look better. And an old bag can make a comic book look worse. So grade to me is really, really important.
Yeah, it's a pet peeve of ours if people are selling books like on eBay or something that they don't have the grade with just like some random price.
Or the wrong grade. This is
or
perfect.
The wrong grade, yeah.
And it's like a good, I think their perspective of perfect might be it's connected to the cover.
Yeah, and maybe not like if they're like a point off or something, like that's not as big of a deal as like it's a good but they're calling it a fine.
Yeah, I think that it's general and a general understanding that a half a grade difference is reasonable. Here's the problem with that. It doesn't mean that every time I buy a book from someone it should be a half a grade under. It means that sometimes it's even higher. If I'm buying books from someone all the time, I would expect that the average grade is right. When I say right, what am I comparing it to? CGC grading standards.
And we are talking about raw books. We didn't
Yeah, these are books that are not professionally graded.
Not CGC graded.
And last thing about being professionally graded, if you sell comics and you grade comics, don't tell me that you're not a professional grader. You're making money for selling books. Become a professional grader in your life.
Especially if you do sell raw books as well, because that just is very silly.
I'm not going to stand behind some claim I don't know how to grade when you're unhappy with the condition of a book because I didn't describe it well. We used to really break it down. We used to say this one has a stain on the back, this one has foxing. Now we just apply the grade. When you get the book, you can tell. Mm-hmm. If there's a really big stain, we always say, things like that.
Yeah, if there's a pop staple or something, because some people don't want to buy those.
Stains, pop staples, and foxing we like to add.
Yeah.
Other things like there are 9 spine ticks. That's too much information.
No, if it's a 9.4, you would expect a spine tick.
Yeah, you'd expect between 5 and 7 small spine ticks that have very thin color breaks, if any at all. Use the CGC grading guide, and I think you're good. Use the Overstreet grading guide. It's even stricter. It's always good if you buy a book that you can sell it for the grade that you bought it at. Most people, they'll get a book and then decide they want to sell some books to buy others. Hey, I bought this as a 9.4. Well, it's an 8.0. Hey, well, I bought it. It doesn't matter. That's why when I buy books, I regrade everything to what I feel the grade is. And we're strict at grading, so that's kind of like that's what we're known for, that we are really trying anyway. No one's perfect. CGC is not perfect. We're not perfect, but we definitely put effort into it, and it hurts our egos when we're wrong. So yeah, that's one part. Another part is hidden fees. If you're buying books, hidden or not so hidden, another pet peeve. If you buy a book on eBay and it's $4 and shipping is $7 and tax is 80 cents and by the time the smoke clears you're spending $17, buy 2 more. Make it where the shipping is less than 15-20%. of the whole purchase.
Yeah, I bought a book on Encore once, and you had to click like 3 things to figure out what the fees would be before you bought something, and that was really frustrating to me. Because I was like, oh cool, I thought I got a good deal on this, but with all these extra fees, it wasn't.
Yeah, online is not always an ideal place to fill that one book in, so try to get other books that you want when you do that, because you can get feed out, F-E-E, not feed, but fees, feed out of making a good purchase on a good price. So sometimes you can ask, if you buy 3 or 4, bundling is usually included. So it's usually the same price for 4 raw comics as it is 1.
Some other things to consider is, some other things that like we like to know about when we're buying a book is if it's a key. Obviously, big keys are like pretty self-explanatory. Like you probably already know if it's a big purple key, like on cover price.
I'm so weird about it. I want to know what year the book came out.
What minor key it is, what year.
Yeah, I mean, if the cover art's Jim Lee or if the cover art's Neil Adams, include that in the information. Most of all, as sellers, we do that to the best of our ability. Information is king. You want to know about that book. Now, sometimes you can get a really good deal. Someone may not realize a book is special for one reason or another, and they're not concerned about it, and they're selling it for $5 and it's worth $50. I'm not saying you should say, hey, did you know that's a key? That's on them. You know what I'm saying? That's on them. But I am saying that it's better to look at information. I like people who provide that information. You're not going to get some of the steal deals from people like that, but at least you know what you're dealing with. And it helps educate people if they look and they're not buying.
And then another thing to consider too is like what the current value is of the books that you're looking to buy. As a buyer, we always recommend that you do your research before you buy something.
Yeah. And to go along with that, be careful of buying things you don't know about.
Yes.
Take a beat. Look it up real quick. Look it up on eBay. I'm telling you this as a seller. Look up what other people are selling it at.
Yeah.
Just keep in mind that if someone advertises a grade, take a look at that book. Is it really that grade? Because sometimes people overestimate what the grade is. Might say it's near mint and it's a very fine, and you find that price is lower than the price that you're looking at. So you have to do a little bit of investigation. And some formats aren't good at that. Like claim sales, they might go fast. So
yeah. Well, I was gonna say our claim sales, we always have like off the wall, like esoteric stuff that people never see. And a lot of times the pricing is like at a point where you may not need to know about it if you just think the cover's cool or something. But like we'll sell stuff all the time that like people don't know about.
Example. This is Blazing Combat #2. Do you know this book? 1963 or 2. Frank Frazetta. 4-part miniseries. Sick covers. If you saw this and someone wanted $150 and said it was Frazetta, this is like an 8.0. I think that I can improve it actually to an 8.5. It just needs a press. It's been in a box for 30 years. And I've had this for years. If you see this and you've never seen it before, but you love Frank Frazetta, would you just jump out and buy it? I would say look it up first. See what they're selling for. You might think that's really expensive. You look it up. Oh my gosh, it's 40% less than the last person sold it for. Really, doing your homework is essential if you're going to invest in comic books in a way that you can get your money back. If you are an impulse buyer and you love that, like I like to see things and buy them, that's fine. You may not, in the long run, may not be able to sell them for what you paid, but your instant gratification might be buried in that action. I don't know.
Well, and I think people have a threshold too. They're like, if it's under this amount, like I feel okay, like buying it. But if it's over a certain amount, that's when I need to start looking up if it's a good value or not.
Everyone has a threshold.
Everyone has their threshold.
Some people's threshold's vastly different than others.
Yes.
Okay.
All right, let's talk about where you can buy comics today.
Okay, have a seat, get some coffee. I'm telling you, there's probably more places than you think. So we're going to take it by platform.
Yes, and we're probably not going to list everything. So if we miss anything, leave it in the comments below.
10 million% guarantee we're not going to list everything.
No.
Because I was, okay, go ahead.
Okay, well, we're going to start with auction houses. So auction houses, places where you can go and bid on a book, mainly slabs. Some of these also have raws.
I would say they're primarily slabs. Because they don't own the books, because everything's commissioned, it's best that they solidify that whole grade piece, right? Most auction houses only show the front cover.
Yeah.
So in order for them to be expedient, they're going to show the front cover of a slab, and you can look it up on GP Analysis, you can look it up on the CGC Census, you can look it up on Go Collect. There's lots of places that you can see data from slab sales. And that helps. But auction houses there's a lot of them. There's probably more than you think.
Here's a list of some of them. First up is Heritage Auctions, Comic Link.
Now, those two I would say in the next one, Comic Connect. These three are probably the largest in terms of volume and how many books that they sell. And they're very different. And just to give you an example, Comic Connect does sell raw books once in a while. They sell sets. They sell different things. Actually, all of them do a little bit. Comic Connect probably sells more of that, and it's probably still a small percentage of their sales. You should check them all out. Now, sometimes I think it's out of people's budgets to use auction houses because you can expect an average cost of $75 to $100 for each book landed based on the shipping cost. Last time I got shipping, it cost me $180.
Yeah, well, you got a lot of books too.
I've heard people gripe at $10 shipping. Try $180. I got a box.
Yeah.
It was one box, but they charge for the labor. So it can be really expensive. They've all over doubled since the pandemic in their shipping costs. And it can take a long time. It can take up to 3 weeks to a month.
Yes.
So those are the three big ones. There's a bunch more, though.
Yes. We considered Whatnot as an auction house because
A lot of sales are auctions. A lot of sales are auctions.
There's also Buy It Nows on there. Encore is a new platform that has auctions.
And they have a Buy It Now feature, but their auctions are probably the most attractive.
Yes. Also Shortboxed is the newish platform.
Yeah, they've been around for several years now, but I really like they're unique because they offer you like analysis of what the last issues of that book sold for. And some people might gripe like, well, you're kind of creating a cap of what people will pay. I look at it the opposite. I like to kind of get an idea that whoever's selling me the book has an idea of the value. I've sold books for 3-4 times under value on some of these formats, and I just don't think anyone really understood what the book was. Didn't care about it in that particular auction, but at least this way there's some more information is always better. Too much information stops you from even caring. I like a little bit more information than some of the auction houses. I'll tell you another one that has great information is Heritage. Heritage has GP analysis stuff under the book. You can really, and what the last issue sold for. Fantastic information. So there's more auction houses than that.
Yeah, the last two that we have on our list though is Hakes Auctions.
Yep.
And Pedigree Auctions.
There's more than I even know. You have to really kind of do some data mining to figure it out.
Other places you can buy comics. Comic book store. Big surprise, but not every city has a comic book store.
Not every town. I would say every city does.
Like big city, yeah.
Yeah, every big city certainly does. My little town, there's a population of 350,000 in 3 towns combined. We have a couple of comic book stores.
Yeah, we do.
And we have a big one. Comic book stores are a great option. Here's the challenge there. Most comic book stores don't have a large back issue section. What they have really got into is selling toys. And
cards is a big one at the LCS that we have.
Cards, games.
Board games.
Yeah. All kinds of stuff that's peripheral to comics. Some stores only sell old books. So the experience is going to be vastly different from store to store. Your local comic book store, chances are they do sell new books unless they only sell older books. But you'll see less of those types of stores than the ones that do have new books that come out every Wednesday. That's a very tough thing to manage. So it takes employees to do that. It takes a lot of labor, a lot of time, bagging, boarding, blah, blah, blah. Anyway.
A lot of the comic book stores also have websites that go along with their store so that they sell online as well.
Or Instagrams, or Facebooks, or TikToks.
Yeah, they all have social media. They don't necessarily sell on all of those platforms.
Not necessarily, but I've seen a lot that do. And I'll talk to someone and they'll say, yeah, I always put new books up. And then people message me and say they want to buy them. So, I mean, things are moving all over. So those stores have a lot more connectivity to the customer than they used to 10 years ago. And there's a lot of migration from people going out of brick and mortar and going strictly into the internet-based sales.
Right, and that helps for people that don't have the comic book store close to them.
We don't have a brick and mortar. I looked into it early in when we started the business. It's expensive. There's also, the chances of getting robbed, the chances of having people steal things, having to have staff, increasing my overhead. So in order for me to do what I do, it's me and Rachel. Mm-hmm. We've had some other people work with us along the way, and that's been great, but it's just me and Rachel. That's why it's hard for us to get videos out sometimes. We work our butts off to provide comic books. So,
but yeah, a lot of people that are comic resellers sell from home or online. They don't have a brick and mortar.
Yep, they might even have a storefront that they use strictly, to process books. So I know some people that do that. Anyway, what else we got?
Next up is conventions. There's 1-day conventions, 4-day conventions. You know about conventions.
Yeah, so I call one day as a comic book show, and more than one day is a comic convention. Most comic conventions have a lot more other things than comics.
Comics is such a small portion now.
80% of something else, 20% of comics. There are some great shows in America that really do still focus on comics. But like the San Diego Comic Convention is primarily not comics. I would say 95% of what they have there is not comics.
And Emerald City Comic Con, which is up here,
it's about 90% other things.
Not comics.
Yeah,
City.
Yeah, Emerald City in Seattle focuses more on cosplay, artist alley, and entertainers giving signatures. And
that's mainly how it is.
Tons of fandom. There's tons of fandom in that arena. We're talking comic books today, though, so I love one-day shows. Now, if you live in a small town, chances are you have one-day shows. You just have to kind of dig down. Unfortunately, a lot of these aren't that sophisticated, so if you're not in the cognoscente, you're not going to get the information. There's a couple of one-day shows local to me. There's a Frankenstein show in Portland that I like.
Yeah, it's a good one.
Twice
a year, yeah.
Grit City in Tacoma, Washington. It's probably one of the best one-day shows I've ever been to. Probably have 75 comic dealers there. Phenomenal. Big, convention center. So there's good one-day shows, and I think that's a great place to go see a bunch of books if you want to. So you always try to tap into the one-day shows in your area or in a close area.
Also, like under the convention umbrella are things like swap meets.
Really prevalent in the East Coast, by the way. Like where we live, it rains too much for a lot of swap meets. So you have to be somewhere, I don't know, that has a bigger population, is more accommodating.
Yeah, and antique stores. A lot of antique stores carry comic books. I know there's a few in our area that do, not a lot.
Antique malls might have like a comic dealer. I've seen them in Las Vegas. They have them all over the country where it's a cheap option for people to sell comics to move into an antique mall.
And then some bookstores sell comic books as well.
Yeah, used bookstores.
Half-price books.
I saw one recently in California. I walked by a bookstore and they had a bunch of comic books in the window that were all faded, Then I walked in the store and looked around. That was the only comic books they had.
Just right in the front to get sun faded.
I mean, they had to lose like 60% of their color.
And then the final place that we have listed down of a place to buy comic books is on live claim sales on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube.
Yeah, so we're talking about vintage comics too, not just new books. Like there's places you can buy new comic books. You can buy them at Walmart. There's places that sell new books. Live claim sales have changed everything. I mean, especially early in the pandemic, I remember going to some one-day shows, some big one-day shows, and seeing people holding claim sales. And they didn't have time to talk to me
during the show
because they were selling live. I remember at San Diego last year, I walked by a guy. He rented a booth, closed it off, and had claim sales the whole time, live from San Diego. Here we go, Andy Warhol. Everyone's famous for 15 minutes. Here we go. Everyone's doing it through a claim sale, and people are doing fantastic. My friend Richard, shout out to Bedrock Comics in Houston, Texas. He started, I think, 5 years ago on Facebook.
Yeah, he has a big claim sale on Facebook.
And every Wednesday he does a claim sale on Facebook. And, at one point it was incredibly busy. But when he started, there wasn't as many people. Now, there's so many people doing it. Not 1,000 guys, thousands and thousands. It's hard to determine. TikTok. All these different platforms have these live ways to stream. YouTube. There are people that do live claim sales on YouTube every week.
We've done them before on YouTube.
Yep. Technically, it's not as easy to manage, through getting information and stuff. But from a seller's perspective, it's a whole different story about can we scale and can we get throughput? Is the service going to be as good? That's why we stick with Instagram. We have it down to a science. It's really fast. And for us, it's like easy to reconcile and all that. So lots and lots of places. I'm not exaggerating when I say that I think there's tens and tens of thousands of people selling books, and it's going to change. Everyone's not going to stay in business. Some people are only doing it part-time. We're full-time. It's all we do.
Some people, they get a collection from someone, like their family member, and they're like, okay, I'm just going to sell this. This seems like eBay seems like the easiest way, or whatnot seems like the easiest way, and then they're done after the collection's sold.
There's people that only like going to garage sales.
Which, my dream would be to find comic books at a garage sale. I looked.
Everyone's dream is to find a book at it.
I looked.
Everyone. I found this Action 1. I paid $3. Did you guys ever hear about that? It was a story about a woman who bought a painting, incredibly large painting, and she said it was a Pollock painting. And it was very controversial if it was or wasn't, but if it was between $5 and $10 million. She paid $5 for it. I mean, looking at it, even if it was a Pollock, it wasn't my favorite. There's too much going on. I actually show a couple. I like some of his stuff. I like the more sparse stuff. Art's my bag, baby. I love I love
bag, baby.
I love art, you know, so it doesn't have to be comic book art. But
what about the guy that bought a Banksy from like a stranger on the side of the street, but he didn't know it was a Banksy till it was over?
Love that. Yeah.
You never know.
Some guy was selling Banksies.
I think it was Banksy.
In New York City.
But no one knows who
we
Banksy
don't know.
looks
That's
like.
why I said some guy. And they were like $50 or $40. They're worth thousands. Little small Banksies. If you can show a picture of that too.
Yeah, it's pretty. I like that.
It's funny because like if you don't think there's any value, you're buying it because you like it. Best reason to buy any type of art is because you like it. If you're just buying it for an investment, it's not going to give you the kind of joy that something that you like is, you know? So the reason I have these posters is because I like them. I was never to resell them.
People ask though all the time.
Yeah, they're limited. They're limited. That was from Coachella, and that was from a Foo Fighters show in Portland, Oregon. And they're both by the same artist, and they're both limited. I think there was 250 of each made. Got them framed. That cost me another few hundred. I didn't buy them for an investment, but boy, do I like looking at them. So anyway, back to the story.
We digress.
We're going to help you out and talk about some of the experience we've had with these platforms and what some of the pros and cons are. Maybe you haven't even tried the platform we're talking about. So why don't you kick it off?
Yeah, we're going to start with Whatnot. As we mentioned in the beginning of the video, we sold on Whatnot for a very brief moment in time.
Still have an account. We still might do something later.
We don't know. Whatnot
We're not excited
is
about the idea.
Interesting world. Like you mentioned, they sell everything on there. Not just comic books, but I like that they separate vintage and modern comics. Mm-hmm. That's like a pro in my opinion, because if you're looking for a specific type of comic book, you can go directly to the section where all the auctions are that are selling that specific type of comic book.
Separate the wheat from the shaft, you know what I'm saying?
You can also get books for really cheap. We know that from experience because people that bought from us got books for really good prices. Some lower than we expected. You can also build really good relationships with the comic book sellers because a lot of times they're on live for hours. I know for us, like, we did some streams for 4 hours, which is a long time to be live.
Shout out to That's My Good.
That's My Good. And then, there's other ones too. I'm sorry.
People that bought with us that we built relationships. That's My Good was a buyer who really liked Archie's, so we made sure to bring Archie's.
There's a lot of, I think a lot of people are in the comments too that have bought from us on Whatnot. So shout out to you guys.
Yep.
We did like that part of Whatnot a lot.
Very sincere.
Buyers.
You know, it was a good opportunity to hear us talk for 4 hours.
You can also play music and no one gets mad at you, which we appreciated.
That was actually my favorite part.
That was our favorite part because Instagram gives us a lot of crap for that. Here are some cons to Whatnot. You can overpay for books because it is an auction and there is FOMO involved in auctions. Like if you go to any of those like modern auctions where they're selling the like 1 in 50 variant covers, and like you can definitely see some of those go for more than what I would expect them to go for.
Yeah. I've even told people stop. You can get it cheaper than this.
Yes.
Like you're in a battle, you want to win, but you're going to lose if you win. So you don't want to lose. You don't want to make winning losing. You know what I'm saying? Okay.
Another con is it charges your card every single transaction, which we personally have experienced issues with customers not being able to purchase, what they want to purchase because their card gets declined or like whatever. So that's a con, even though it's nice that, it's paid for immediately. Having like 50 transactions in like an hour.
Talk about
crazy.
Triggering your bank. You just had 50 $5
like,
transactions.
And there also are a ton of people selling on that platform. So if you are on there selling, I hope you have a platform already before you go over there because it's hard to build a new platform there. We went from, I think we had 6,000 followers on 6 or 7,000 on Instagram when we started selling on Whatnot. It was like pulling teeth to get followers.
We have a couple thousand followers though.
We have 2,000, but compared to like our other platforms, like it was really hard to get people to transition over to another platform.
That organic 2,000 is tough, right? So there's been people on there since the beginning and might have 20 or 30,000. They do pretty well. But you'll find the best sellers are selling premium books and they kind of know what they're doing. They're going to take a little bit of a hit. It's the place that you should be saving money. Another con is that a lot of times the books are just awful condition. I remember we sold a low-grade copy of something for $3 or $4 and the customer complained because of the grade. And we're like, well, I mean, the book's actually worth more than you paid.
Yeah.
It's hard to break down when you're selling 4 books a minute that, hey, this is low grade. Can I tell you? It's got a stain. It's got foxy. No, when we say low grade, like down to the floor, it is what it is. So I think some people are expecting to get the highest grade for the lowest price, literally stealing books, and there are people getting steals. So it is a lot of work. if you're buying, and you might get disappointed or you might be really pleased. Leave in a comment if you love that format or if you don't care for it.
It's addicting. I once spent an entire evening on that platform when I was learning about it.
It's a lot for her.
I was like, well, I mean, I was just like scrolling, like looking at all the, and it's like very addicting, especially because of like the giveaways and stuff. Like people do giveaways for people that don't buy anything, which is a pro for a customer.
We've done $300-400 worth of giveaways, and we had to pay for the shipping. It cut into Rachel's Sims time that night. See, no, she gave up Sims after Whatnot.
I didn't want to get off because it was so fun. It's like very addicting, which I think is a pro and a con. Pro and a con. I don't know. Anyway, the next platform that we're going to be talking about pros and cons for is eBay. eBay's been around for so long.
It's the OG. OG.
When people think of buying something vintage, that's online. That's the first place I go, unless it's like Facebook Marketplace.
Since Beanie Babies. I mean, Beanie Babies kicked it off in the world of buying, collectibles online, and it hasn't stopped. My original selling platform in the early 2000s, late 90s, was eBay. That's the only place I sold books. The only place I sold books.
They have a really good reputation as far as like buying and selling. Not necessarily like... There's a lot of things that I think are cons about eBay, but like eBay is a good
I think they have an awful... They're McDonald's. They have an awful reputation.
They've been there.
And everyone uses them.
Yeah, it's like the reputation is like, but like who doesn't... who hasn't bought something on eBay?
No one knows what to grade on eBay. Or, and you'll see this, I've seen books listed on eBay for $500,000 that are worth $100. There's something, I guess it gets eyes on it. Someone says most expensive comic or something.
I think that's fake, though. Those posts, I think, are fake.
There's so much noise to get through, but I'm telling you, I bought thousands. And I'm not exaggerating.
I think everyone's bought something on eBay.
I bought thousands and thousands and thousands of books on eBay.
Yeah.
And our eBay store is doing really well. I mean, we decided we were off it for 2 years. Only claim sales, and now I'm back on eBay because I really want people to easily find our stuff.
Yeah. It has a lot of selection. It's probably got the widest selection.
It is by far
any platform that exists.
Yeah.
As far as like if you need a book, it's probably there.
Even more than Mile High Comics.
Which is crazy to say, although that website's horrible. It's like the ugliest website I've ever seen. Sorry. My one pro that I wrote, even though we said some of them, is that they have a return policy that's like pretty cut and dry. Yeah,
you don't have to worry too much about getting scammed. They'll cover. When they don't cover, it is a nightmare. But eBay will cover, like, if the seller is a bad seller or the buyer trying to scam you. You'll never speak to somebody on eBay.
Yeah, I mean, we do. Like, people will message us about, like, orders and stuff, and we respond immediately. But I know a lot of
No, I'm talking about somebody was trying to scam you. Now you're trying to reach out to the staff.
Oh, okay.
On eBay. And to get a call, I have talked to somebody maybe once. It's
all online, yeah. They're like, just go to the questions on the website and you'll figure it out.
Yeah.
But I was going to say a con is like you're not easily able to communicate with sellers. And you definitely can't speak openly to like buyers about, going to other platforms, talking about other things that you do. We've had to be really careful about how we word things through eBay messaging.
All the time people reach out to us on eBay, they find us, and they might have a hard time finding us anywhere else. And they start asking questions about how to contact us, our business. Do I want to buy a collection? I always tell them, I can't talk here. And I also can't tell you where to find me.
Nope.
I just want to say, think.
Our username is Futurepastcomics.
Google me is better than eBaying me. Because it's the North Korean system of communication. You are being watched, you're being listened to, and they will slap your hand if you do something wrong.
Yeah.
Or kick you off.
Unless you buy something from us on eBay, because then we'll put all of our stuff in there, in the package, like where you can find us.
Yeah, you get a package from us, there's going to be marketing in there.
Saying, you can find us here. Anyway, so that's our spiel about eBay. Here's some pros and cons about conventions, one-day shows. So pro for a con is you can sometimes find very hard...
Pro for a con?
Pro for a convention is you can sometimes find really hard to get stuff that you won't find anywhere else, even on eBay.
It's also great to see a lot of books. There's a visual aspect to this hobby of ours that in your mind's eye, you might not be able to think about things you don't know. Imagine that.
Or see keys that you would have never thought that you'd be able to see in person.
So you're looking at a wall. I'll give you a great example. I was at San Diego last year, I think, or the year before, and I walked by this little booth in the very back, way apart from the other comic book people, but they had comic books. You guys are going to laugh at what book I really like. I'm looking at their wall, and they had a Dexter #1. Dexter, the comic book.
Like cartoon or murder?
Murder.
Dexter. Okay, I was like, there's two Dexters in my brain that I'm thinking of.
Dexter. And I'm like, oh, I want that so bad. I'd never seen one before. They're kind of pricey. Why? Because you never see them. Now, I'm sure if I'd have Googled them or looked on eBay, I probably could have seen some, but just seeing it, I instantly wanted it.
You didn't know it existed until
I
that
didn't get it
moment.
because I think he wanted ungraded, and I wasn't going to go through the whole process, $100 or $150 for it at the time. And I was looking for other things, but I did find some really good books there, and sometimes I just see books that have never crossed my mind's eye. So that's why I think some people just go to claim sales to watch.
Just to see. Cool
Just
stuff.
to watch it happen, so it kind of like sparks your interest. Best way to collect, if you ask me, look at a lot of books before you make decisions. Know what you like. Anyway, carry on.
Yeah. Some cons about conventions is it's very expensive to go to
Can
a
be.
convention.
It can
Depending on, like, if you're going to San Diego Comic-Con, if you're going to Emerald City, like, you're going to be spending out the door minimum $150 before you even walk in the door.
Well, you got to pay for parking. You got
Yeah.
to schlep and lug things. Sometimes you have to walk up a lot of stairs, and it's hard to get in and out. You know, you got to pay the fees to get in.
If you're traveling, you're going to have to book a place to stay. Like, there's a lot of expenses before you even look at anything in the con.
Yep.
And that is a con to me because if you could just go online and look at it,
Yeah.
if you're paying for an experience.
Comic conventions are not free. San Diego this
They are
year,
not
I
free.
paid $500 for my pass. I also got a pass for Rachel, and she didn't end up going. So I was in $800 before the plane flight.
Which is crazy. Like, it's
Yeah,
so expensive.
yeah.
Anyway, so yeah, conventions can be really pricey. I think that's the biggest con.
To cons?
To cons is
I like
that
pros
it's
for cons.
expensive. But like one-day shows are really great because I mean Frankenstein's like $5 unless you're a veteran or over 60. You can get in for free. But yeah, $5 to go in and you can see tons of books. Also really cool books. Also rare books.
Also, this year at the con, I saw at San Diego Comic Con, I saw more big books than I did the last couple years. There were some huge, expensive, hard to find. It was even more than usual. So it's kind of interesting to see like this transformation of what people are holding on to, what people are selling, and then it might leave the market again because people are holding on to them. So everything's not always for sale.
Well, and as a seller, like going to a con, you have to make so much money to even break even. And that's a whole other aspect of it, but like it can be really hard. Like,
We've
on all
lost
fronts.
money, and you know, using a lot of comic books to lose money. So we get front of mind with people, so people know who we are. But the best part about being at a con is either buying comic books, meeting dealers, meeting people that you're going to get some comic books from later, and that's for everyone. So
Yeah.
yeah.
All right, Shortbox. Here's some pros and cons about Shortboxed. Shortbox is really, I think, a great platform. You can get really good deals.
They're not a sponsor.
Not sponsored.
Not
we
sponsored.
sold some books on there recently.
No one here is sponsoring us. We're just
No,
chatting.
we're
with
just
people.
talking. And we've used all of these platforms or like have gone
This
to
is
these
experiential.
things. All of this is from
experiential.
personal experience.
Yes.
But Shortbox, you can get some really good deals on books.
Yeah.
You can also spend a lot of money on books, which can be a con because of FOMO.
I think here's what I have to say about Shortbox in a nutshell. I'll let her finish, but it's a good option. I mean, you should always check out their auctions and their buy it nows. You might find a book you're looking for at a better price or a better copy of it. So it's just a good option.
And we had mentioned this before, but it will show you like an average range of what the book is selling for. And as a lister, it'll actually like give like a color next to the book on whether or not you're overpriced or underpriced or like just right.
Yeah.
Which is a con and a pro.
Compared to sales. So it'll say like if there's a red dot next to it, they're charging more than the last sales, the most recent sales. And if there's a green dot, it's right in line.
Yeah. So, and I think that is a pro, and it also can be a con because it can, like you said, max out how much someone is willing to spend on something. And not every slab book is the same. So that's another factor. It's like, even if it's a 9.8, it might look better than the previous 9.8 that sold.
It's centered, better page quality, blah, blah, blah.
Blah, blah, blah.
You know.
Encore, another platform that we have sold on before.
New platform.
Very new. Pro is you can get a really good deal because not as many people are using the platform. I think there are more now than there were like 6 months ago. But
I'm sure it's building, but there's still, you can get stills there if you're really going to scrub the site and get into it. You'd have to do a lot of research, right?
Yes, we haven't really been posting on there since we did initially, but people got some really good deals on some books that we were selling on there.
We sold books at less than half of their value in some auctions, and that's fine. I mean, they weren't like barn burners, you know? But I don't know. Sometimes the seller really has to commit to a platform, and we weren't willing to commit to that one like we are Instagram. Yeah.
Well, and I think that goes into the con is there's not as big of a selection as there are going to be on some of these other platforms that we talked about. So like if you're looking for a specific book, you're probably not going to find it on Encore. If it's like very niche or like a back issue, like you may not find it on there.
Yeah.
Comic book websites is our next one.
More than you would ever guess, more than you think. There are tons of, I'd say it's impossible. You know how Google comes up? There was 1,800,000. Yeah, there probably are. I mean...
Like websites?
Yeah, websites. There's so many websites, it's hard to even wrap your mind around it. Some of the old school guys, High Grade Comics, Comic Connect. There's one called Cedar Chest Comics. You throw that up there. He has pretty good prices on slabs. Only sells slabs, or at least he did last time I went on. Pedigree Comics has a buy it now. Dale Roberts has a great website. On and on and on. There are so many websites you'll find as you'll look at them like, wow, their prices are, whoa, sticker shock. Can you barter? Yeah, you can. They have built, a lot of these have been around since the beginning of the internet. When I say beginning, of people using the internet for commerce, could have had a website for 20, 25 years on there. They have customers. They have customers that trust them. One thing about a lot of these websites is they're really good at grading on raw books. I would say like My Comic Shop, pretty good at grading. Big backstock. Con is they're out of every time I want to get a key there, they're out. They might have, they'll show you like they have 9 copies for sale and how much they each are. Some of them are commissioned, and that can be problematic because commissioned, they can't do anything with the price. So a lot of nuance to this. We're not going to do a deep dive into the nuance, but websites are a really good option for people that want to do some shopping because they're completely different than doing things like claim sales, even eBay. eBay is everyone, where a website might be really focused on Silver Age stuff. So they primarily have silver. This website has all new books. This website has pre-sales for books coming out next month. On and on and on.
Yeah, I mean, some cons too is like sometimes like they're not as easily accessible as, eBay or, trying to find specific books like you were saying. And then the websites sometimes aren't very well organized, like Mile High Comics, as I mentioned before. Like trying to find a book on that website makes my head hurt, which I personally would just like not go to that website to buy something.
Some of the sites I've been to have been hacked and your information gets out there.
Yeah, so there's a lot of things that can hinder me wanting to go directly.
It's a dangerous world, you guys. Well, you know what I'm saying.
Auction houses. Pros for buying at an auction house. You can pretty much find any hard-to-get book on an auction house.
Some people swear by getting like Heritage auctions. If you're trying to buy a Golden Age comic, I would say Heritage has the best reputation for that. Not that other big auction houses don't sell them. They do. And some of the highest sales have come from other places as well. But Heritage is expensive. You're going to pay a buyer's premium of 15%, which is massive. Whatever the price is, you pay 15% extra. However, most people factor that into the cost. So you shouldn't pay what it's going for plus 15%. The 15% plus what you paid should be about what you feel the book's worth. They've had whole pedigrees go through there where every like the Promise collection was sold through Heritage auctions. So those were some of the highest grade examples of some pre-code and some Atomic Age comics was all done through Heritage. So
well, I feel like anyone that has a really big slabbed key, I mean, I would say more often than not they bought it from an auction house.
Yeah.
So I would say that's like the place to buy hard to get slabs.
Yeah, and one thing we've noticed is that there's been a migration of people wanting only slabs to people wanting primarily raw. But it starts to break down with price. So as the price goes up, you're probably going to want a slab. And what do I mean by that? Maybe books over 1,000, books over 2,000, books over 5,000, whatever your budget is. I know people that buy books for tens of thousands that aren't slabbed. Really, I'm not kidding. And they just know books. They know how to examine a book. They know if it's been restored. That's the biggest thing. They know how to grade. If you're off one grade on a $20,000 book, it might cost you $5,000. Yeah. So you don't want, you don't want to make a mistake.
Okay, the final place that we're going to talk about pros and cons for is claim sales on social media, so like Instagram and Facebook.
And we went over it a little bit, but it's a great way to buy books if you have time. I don't like watching a boring one. I like to watch them that show a lot of books. I don't like it when people, this is as a buyer. This is what we do. I'm talking about, I have bought, I'm not exaggerating, guys, thousands and thousands and thousands of comic books in claim sales, one at a time. I'm not kidding. So it's not like I'm speaking as a seller. I can tell you as a buyer. I want to move fast. I want the person that is moderating to be friendly and nice. I don't want there to be a lot of noise going on with people talking about other stuff in the stream and all of a sudden it becomes something else. And I want selection and options. I want back issues. I want keys. I want grades. I mean, there's things that I personally desire. So when we designed ours, we did it with all that in mind.
It's like you can buy directly from your favorite comic resellers or influencers. For us, we're typically live like an hour to 2 hours.
Yep.
And that's a long time to be hanging out with someone on live. You can also build relationships with the sellers. We've built so many great relationships with people that come and buy from us on Instagram. That's my favorite part.
Yeah, we feel like we have a duty for our customers. I mean that, Rachel does a great job. She's in charge of like remembering who wants what.
Yes.
And she does a great job.
I don't remember everything, but I remember a lot of things.
Just gets better and better. I'll buy a collection and she'll say, so-and-so is going to be interested in that. Oh, I wonder if so-and-so has a copy of that. She knows what people are buying. She does all the shipping.
Yep.
She does all the billing. So it's like, it's great to do this as a multi-person team. We both have things that we focus on. And your experience should be that with anyone. That they know what they're doing. You're looking for good service. What does good service look like in the electronic community? Fast, reliable delivery, safe delivery of that book. So the packing should be immaculate. I mean, you should have that expectation.
Yeah, unless your USPS person is not nice.
Good.
Even if we pack it crazy sometimes.
Good communication and easy to pay for. We went out of our way. I'm ready to take Bitcoin. I haven't got there yet, but
platforms now. We used to only take PayPal.
Yep.
And now we do it all. Here are some cons to buying on a claim sale. You may not find a single book that you want in the stream. And that may be like frustrating for people. Also,
do you have any Wolverine?
Do you have anything that I want?
Do you have any Weird Science from 1953?
Well, and there's people that will come in and just ask for a specific book, and like if we don't have it, then they leave, and that's totally fair.
I get it.
I think that's very fair.
If you're looking for one specific title,
we're not.
Claim sales are not the place to go.
Another thing,
unless they specialize in that one title,
and they only sell that book over and over.
Just
again.
that book.
They have 50 copies. Another thing is if multiple people want the same book and they try to claim it at the same time, and they may not get the book that they wanted to get.
It's a fight.
That's really frustrating for people, and I totally understand that. Like we've definitely had not like scuffs, but like Instagram is really weird and will filter comments weird, and like a customer may think that they got the book, but we're showing that someone else got it. So that can be really a frustrating experience for somebody.
And it's real. My brother will come on our Instagram and he doesn't know what I have, and he'll see some stuff that he's collecting, and he's a collector. I mean, he's a purist, completist, and he tried to claim something and he didn't get it. And he let me have it for 2 days. I know I was first. I'm like, Danny, what am I going to lie to you?
Yeah.
I would have sold you the book before I even brought it if you'd have told me. But look, first come, first serve. We can't play favorites. And like the first person that we see on all of our devices gets it.
But I know some people have like just, left the sale angry because they were not getting the books they wanted, and I totally understand that as a buyer. Like
that's indicative of that format of buying.
Yeah, it's just the claim sale way, and like we'll typically show like a couple of books that we're going to be featuring in the sale, but like really you don't know anything that we're going to be showing, which can also be a con for some people that like want to know. Look. I think that part's fun, personally.
It's a treasure hunt. I think that the best part of claim sales is the treasure hunt aspect.
Yeah.
I do not like to show people everything I have. I have absolutely shocked people before by putting big keys up.
We'll throw some crazy stuff up there, stuff that you have seen that's really expensive or like at a good price, or like stuff that no one's ever seen and they're like, that's the coolest thing I've ever seen. I think we have a good mix.
I had a Silver Surfer #4. The cover was removed, but it was perfect. Like in the bag, you couldn't even tell that it looked like an 8.0. And so I brought that, and I'm telling you, people fought because I sold it for $50 or $75.
It was a really good price.
Yeah. So that's the fun part, is when someone starts pulling out, like our Archies. We're pulling out 10-cent Archies all the time.
Yep.
We've got some diamond distribution Archies we've been selling, which are the precursor to Mark Jewelers.
We had a whole Mark Jewelers sale where we sold
like 40 or 50 Mark Jewelers.
Mainly Mark Jewelers. We had a whole sale where we just sold Bernie Wrightson signed books. Like, we've had some really cool sales that no one else would really know about unless they went. It's like kind of like a little secret.
Yeah, and it's great. So to wrap this up, that's kind of the way to look at it. Like, wherever you're buying comics, wherever it is you choose to trust, you like their selection, whatever it is, I guarantee there's someplace else out there you're going to love. chances are you may not try to find them, or you might start searching. There's a lot of anxiety, I think, built into building these relationships if you've built them. I know some people are incredibly loyal to where they buy books, and that's good because we sell books, and we have some customers that are incredibly loyal that we have true feelings of commitment to.
Yeah, I'd reach out to customers that I hadn't heard from in a while just to make sure they're okay.
We want to provide books to our customers that 20 years from now, we bought this from Future Past Vintage Collectibles, you know. We want to become part of your hobby. And that's the fun part for us anyway.
Yeah. All right, so let's talk about, to wrap it up, what we consider the best place to buy comics if you are looking for a low price, or the best places to find comics if you're looking for high grade.
I think we kind of answered that.
We did, but just to summarize
let's go ahead.
The best places to buy comics, in our opinion, for a low price, we think is Whatnot and eBay. You might be surprised
Tell us
by
if
eBay.
you agree or disagree.
eBay is also a place to find stuff that's overpriced. So,
and I'm going to give a third one. Dollar boxes at Comic Cons.
Half-price books. I found some good books at half-price books. You have to dig, but you can find some stuff.
Talk about like
there's
overwhelming.
No sticker on it.
50-cent sticker on it.
Yeah. So I really think Whatnot is the place where you can find the cheapest stuff. You just have to, it takes time.
eBay too, but by the time you pay the shipping and everything, it's like a marron. It's so expensive.
Best places to buy comic books in high grade, I split it up into raw and slabbed. For slabbed, auction houses, I think, is the best way to find high grade
100%
books.
Yep.
For raw high grade books, social media claim sales, Instagram, Facebook, I think those are the best places.
I agree.
Comic book sellers that really focus on high grade, like us, there are more than just us out there that focus on high grade books. That's a really good place. As long as it's a trusted buyer, you trust their grade, you can find some really high grade stuff out there.
So hopefully we've given you some options today you haven't thought of. And if nothing else, if you have an afternoon, start checking some of these places out. You might like them.
Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel.
Quick note, we are going to continue our series about eras of comics and investing in those eras. This is just a break. Some of the information we have to get, there's a lot of work.
It's going to take us some time to make that one.
We're going to go all the way back to the beginning. So just hang out. It might take a month or two for us to roll them all out. But if you like that series, and we've got a lot of good comments, we're going to keep that going.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.